All right, here we go, my friends. If you're joining us, we are already starting. That's what it's all about. First of all, mahalo for being here. This is Culturize. This is a space that we create to share and learn and talk culture. Whether it's native, whether it's ethnic, whether it's social, we all got to understand a little bit about each other. And I'm so excited today, season 9, but I'm so excited because my guest today, for most of you, let's just say almost 100% of you in Hawaii, learn culture through this man. We understood that there's so many different cultures in Hawaii. We can laugh at each other. We can cry with each other. We can fight with each other. But at the end of the day, we all come together. And one of the few people besides your parents who taught us this, Uncle Frank de Lima. How are you?
Okay, my ka'i.
I'm so humbled and privileged that you're here because when I created this podcast and this show, one of the first things I thought of, it's a cultured show. I thought of you because your view of culture, you have this really good skill of noticing all the little idiosyncrasies of cultures throughout your career. But before we get into all those things, what high school you went?
Damien Memorial High School, Verilator Aje. Damien Alma Mater. That's it.
That's it. I love it. Damien, where'd you grow up?
Pawa'a Valley.
Oh, Pawa'a Valley.
Yeah.
A lot of entertainers, a lot of prominent families, a lot of people within the Hawaiian entertainment business comes from that whole entire area of Pawa'a. What was it like growing up in Pawa'a at the time?
Well, Pakohana Street, and it was 16 homes, mm-hmm. and there were seven or 8 different ethnics living in the different homes, and each of those homes were purebloods.
It's okay.
Except me. I have 8 ethnic groups.
So wait, at Pawa'a Valley at the time, there was 16 homes only?
No. My street.
Oh, your street.
Pakohana
okay.
Street. Yeah, and so I had Japanese, Chinese, Filipino, Portuguese, Puerto Rican, Korean, Chinese, Haole, and then us.
And the Dilimas. What is your ethnic backgrounds?
Irish, Scotch, English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, Chinese, Hawaiian. But the major ones are Irish, Hawaiian, and Portuguese. And
you know what I love about you is that you remember every pureblood family on your street. Most
I do.
Of them. Who were they?
Yoneshiges, Ewans, Inoue, Smith, Makadangdang, and let's see, Jardines. Oh, hard for this.
No, but it's not a lot of people can do that today, because there's not a lot of people that can say, "Oh, I grew up on my street, and I know every family on that street."
I remember everybody.
When growing up in Pawa'a Valley, you being multi-ethnic and all these other families being, so you were in the hotbed of. When you were young growing up in Pawa'a, did you just already observe the different cultures
without
of
knowing
families?
It was just, it stayed with me. It was my actual, when I do my shows, if I do something where I just do stand up, some of the things are storytelling. And the storytelling part is visiting each of those homes. And, imitating whatever I saw back then. And it just stayed with me. The way Japanese old men sing and Chinese opera. I mean, I was sitting there listening to Chinese opera when I was 3 years old,
really?
On the radio with the cymbals banging and the drums banging, the firecrackers, and then they sing in between, I mean, how can you forget it?
How can you forget it? Out of all those ethnicities in your neighborhood, this is weird, not a weird question. Who was, I don't want to say strange, but who had the most unique customs out of all those?
Oh, cannot.
Again, we all was weird.
Every one of them was unique in their own way. The Japanese the old man, when they sing, I never, first time I saw it, we were all the boys. See, of all the homes, okay, there were maybe 7 of us. We call it Pakohana Street Boys. We played football on the street. We would go down the river, go get fish, whatever it may be. And we experienced going to each other's homes, stay overnight kind. And we play like Monopoly or Candyland. But I would break away from them and go talk to the grandparents. And they either cooking, like the Ninoy, they had a wooden stove in the back. And that's where the Obasang used to go cook the dinner.
So I love that. We're going to continue on this conversation. If you're joining us, we're sitting with Uncle Frank de Lima. This is where we share, talk, and learn culture, Unculturized.
For all your money needs, Hawaiian Financial Federal Credit Union is here for you. Visit hificu.com. Bringing you what matters. Viewers can receive the Star Advertiser Digital Full Access subscription for $9.95 per month. Go to staradvertiser.com and click on subscribe. Use the code AHAITHING.
Hey, what's up? How's it? Aloha, this is Makani. Welcome back to Culturized. I love this. I love the fact that you just said when the boys got together, you would make some time and you go hang out with the grandparents and the parents. And I always say that some people are lucky when they get to sit with the grandparents. That's when you really learn. You were talking about sitting with the Obachan in the back. Mm-hmm. What do you remember about that?
Well, first of all, I'm a million question kind of guy.
Wow.
So, but I ask her what she's making, what you put inside, and they had the metal cover on top and how she cooked rice, all of that. I can't remember everything, but just like when I hung out with Mrs. Lee, she was my babysitter when I was 3, 4, and 5 years old. She took care of all us boys.
Wow.
And the older boys used to fold newspaper in the garage. The little kids had to really sit and watch, right? But she also practiced Taoism, so she used to put stacks of paper, thin pieces of paper, squares with gold and silver painted. We had to roll them in tubes, like the middle of the toilet paper roll, that size. And then we're rolling the tube, shove the bottom in, and then flip the top. And we fill boxes of that.
Yeah.
And then they burned that at the graveyard. But we didn't know what we were doing, And I was Catholic, but I was, I was still involved with it. And then we would end up at the graveyard, and she would have manapua and all that over there. And we thought we eat, but we never eat the manapua. She left for the dead people. And I say, why dead people? I mean, that thing smell good. Oh no! And we go back and we get chicken noodle soup. What a junk,
The fact that you're talking about that, because now I can hear some of my aunties that used to live at Pawa'a, right where the Chinese cemetery is. Uh-huh. They would always say, "Did you do this when you were young? When nobody was there, you go around, you go eat the food." You would eat.
Yes, but then I'm Catholic, right? Uh-huh. So after then, one of my friends, also Catholic. Uh-huh. He says, what if the ghosts come late? There goes the guilt, spot. Oh. Then I'm over there, oh no, I won't get possessed by an old Chinese man. What the hell? Oh my God. I won't steal the manapua. All that. And plus imagination, being a comedian, our imagination can really, really be wonderful for us, but it can also be so dangerous, frightening, man.
What about your household growing up with all those ethnicities? And you had the prominent ones. What do you remember about growing up in your household that was very cultural?
Well, we belong to the Punchbowl Holy Ghost, right? Okay. So, like Easter, for example, I remember waiting by the window for the Portuguese men to come with the truck, and then they would deliver. We'd have 3 plates on the table, and they would put the roast beef in one plate, and the bread in the other plate, and 1 bottle of wine, and that would be the delivery to celebrate the Easter season. Wow. And that was part of Portuguese culture. And I also remember the Hawaiian part of us. Dad, I took ukulele lessons when I was 7. My dad used to play ukulele, and but he spoke fluent Hawaiian. His whole family from Ulupalakua.
Oh, Maui.
Yeah. And grandma was Pia Naya.
Pia Naya, yeah.
So they spoke Hawaiian, but my dad didn't speak it at home, only a little bit when he played Hawaiian music, and which is too bad because I would have been fluent too, but it stopped with that, his brothers and sisters. So I learned, but I did learn Hawaiian culture, through my father. And of course, Hawaii, even,
Yeah.
they get married and the cultures all mixed. They practice each other's and all that.
Which is, I think, is always a beauty to Hawaii, because like you were saying earlier, you could grow up Catholic, but you're over here doing things that the Chinese and Taoisms do. But and see, those are the lessons I think that people are missing today. We can do somebody else's practice, even if it's religion, but we're still getting along, right?
Getting along.
Who would have thought that a Catholic boy is at Taoist house folding
the money for go burn for the dead people? Well, if you got to fold the money, if you're going to eat manapua, go fold the money. That's local thinking. That's kind of fun.
Did you think, when you realized you were doing those things at the time when you were, did you think that was funny? Like, oh, this is funny. That was just what you were doing.
That's what I was doing. Yeah, none of that to me was some stuff was funny. Like, I used to imitate the Japanese man. What happened was, us boys used to get together in front of the TV at the Yoneshiges, because the grandson was part of our group. And we watched Kazekozo, Samurai, all that on Sunday afternoon.
Abanembo Shogun.
That's the whole thing. But it was, and so one Sunday never had the Japanese man singing like that. So the boys, they just went out play, but I stayed.
You stayed.
I watched. And then I went home and I found things that I could look like the Japanese man, the headband, the red lipstick, I put the dot, whatever. And I dress up. And then I went to the Onishiges when I felt I was ready, and I went perform for them the Naniwa Bushi man. I actually performed for them.
I want to know what their reaction was.
They're cracking up.
Coming up in a few seconds.
Oh, okay,
let's stay on that. I love this. That's what I want to know how old you were at the time. We are learning culture from Uncle Frank de Lima.
See Dr. Oda at HEC Medical Clinic Honolulu Specialist in laser weight loss. You can see the change, losing 1 to 2 inches instantly.
Hey, what's up? How's it? Aloha. Welcome back to Culturized. I am so excited. I mean, I cannot stop laughing. But also at the same time, we're sharing some culture with you. Uncle Frank de Lima is with us. I think one of the greatest observers and someone that shares about different cultures and making us realize. You just talked about, was that one of the first things you did, dressing up as an old Japanese man?
No, well, before that, we used to dress up as a Chinese lion thinking we can make money.
What, did you
was Mrs. Lee's house, and
wow.
we were already with the Pow babysit kind, but I think I was like 6 or 7. I said, hey, we go dress up like the lion, we'll make the paper box and we'll put the construction paper and dance around, bang, 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 with the pot covers. But didn't I give money? None of them. None of them. The whole neighborhood, nothing happened.
Wasn't lion, that's why.
Nah.
The kids don't do that today. Kids don't, they don't see how you used to see the world, which is, hopefully they do, because we'll get to what you're doing in schools today. How did the Yoneshiges react to when you did that?
Cracked up laughing.
Really?
And then they gave me money. They gave me quarter.
So how old were you at the time? Do you remember?
9.
9 years old.
Yeah. I used to also imitate Johnny Ray from the Ed Sullivan Show. They had all these entertainers that came on. So if I could, I would just imitate them for my family, and all that.
Really? So that was about, so from 6 to 9, that's kind of was the predecessor of who you are today.
Yeah. Dress up, anything, whatever.
Yeah. Wow. So Japanese, and then Ed Sullivan Show. What was the next ethnic culture that you started to dress up as?
Let's see. But Japanese and Chinese are easy. I can't think of anything else. Well, of course, I was dressed up as a Samoan king.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, because we had the king of the neighborhood, right? And we'd have to be able to, I forget what the competition was, in order. And I won one time. And so I got my neighbor my neighbor had a sister. She had the Tahitian dress, so I just put it over me, and then just make any kind, right?
It was the Samoan king of Pawa'a Valley.
Yes.
So you've done Chinese, Japanese, Samoan.
I used to hang around Tatado across the street, you know.
The Macadang
The Macadang Dang, then the Macadang Dang Saloyot, Biligot, you know, and all that stuff. That came later, you know.
Okay.
And I don't know if you want to hear the story about that one.
I do want to hear the story about that one.
All right. So the idea of that song did not come from me originally. It came from Tremaine Tamayosig.
Oh, yeah.
And Tremaine and I were doing a commercial, and we were in a boat, and he was rowing out, and he started singing, Makadangdang soyot biligot tanggalagala budbud. And I started cracking up laughing, and then we had to do the commercial. So that stayed in my head, and then what I did is I just took it and I went with it and I developed the whole thing, and it was all stuff that I learned when I was growing up. The words,
you just put it all together.
Put it all together. Yeah, the vocabulary came from my neighbor, and he was a wonderful man. He made desserts for us and all that, and Obasang.
Yeah.
I asked him millions of questions. That's how I know what Soloyot and Kalamungay and Budbud and all that stuff came from.
See, because a lot of people don't realize that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
People just think you're just throwing words together.
No, I know.
But you knew what
There's
you're
a
talking about.
few galagala.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
that kind of, but then some pidgin and some, fill in the blanks kind of things, you know. So
I love that story. As you move on, what was because I'm Filipino, what was one of the unique things, or many of the unique things you noticed about the Filipino culture? Was it the language, or was it the
language, the food, everything? I ended up doing the candle dance, the tinikling, because I used to go with here the grand, Filipino family, but they were not only on Pacohana Street.
We want to talk about that a little bit more, but we're getting culture shared with us through comedy right here on Culturized.
Pacific Spray Wash is Oahu's #1 trusted exterior cleaning service. We deliver a spotless job for all your pressure washing, roof cleaning, house washing, and solar panel cleaning. Long's Drugs is always here for Hawaii, providing your family with local favorites, accessible health and wellness services to keep you safe and healthy. Make Long's a part of your day.
Hey, what's up? How's it? Aloha, welcome back to Culturized. Man, I'm loving this episode. Uncle Frank de Lima, thank you for being here and sharing with us. But we want to continue on. From the age of 6, even before that, you started to notice and observe all these different ethnic cultures. So this is when I first discovered you. My mom, we would fly from Lanai, and she would always say, "Oh no, we gotta go see this guy. We gotta go see this guy. His name's Frank de Lima. He's at the Waikiki Sand Villa Hotel." Right. I think that's what it's called, right? Yeah. You go down the stairs.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we were old enough to go in there because my mom would always sneak us inside there. And we would go inside and we sit in the back, and all I remember was, my mom's there with her friends, but we're watching you on stage. And I remember sitting in I don't even know, maybe 4th, 5th grade, I think. And I used to be thinking, am I supposed to be in here? Because there's all adults, right? And all the comedy you were doing. But I didn't realize that, we, like you said, we grew up in cultures. We don't realize the differences, but yet the similarities. Everything you did, I was like, whoa, that's all my friends. You're explaining it, so I thought it was relative to me, and it was funny. Was that the first showroom you performed at? What was your first show you did?
First show, I performed for tourists, for all-inclusive tours at the Oceania. And it was morning briefings.
What was that like performing for tourists?
That was the first show that I did was not really professional, but it was at school. Mm-hmm. I performed for luau and fundraisers. I was MC. I was doing my routines, Portuguese jokes that I got from Lucky Luck and Kike Kaumanua when I watched them on TV. And so a lot of my routines were developed as I was growing up, and started to perform those routines, here and there within an MC gig. Not gig then, but my first was with the tourists, and I adapted it like my Portuguese jokes, I changed to Nufi jokes because that's what they laughed at. And I would talk about hula and try to teach them the hula and make bulai kind, like lovely hula hands. But I make them do it. They do it, lovely hula hands. That's not lovely, Why are you doing that?
Have you performed for tourists lately?
No, well, not anymore because no more Waikiki showroom. Yeah,
see, you gotta bring
I have
that
the
back.
Blue Note though coming up Mother's Day.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Now, so you mentioned Tremaine earlier. He used to be he used to do all your music, right?
No. Tremaine just helped me with just a small portion of.
Okay.
And one of them was that Makadangdang. The other one was I left my shoes in my Manila. Like he would come up with these lines, and then I would take it and run with it. And then a whole development came from that. Tremaine was good that way, and also the Year of the Hawaiian was when he was still part of my. We were kind of close at that time, just for about a year. But in that year. I think it was Waihe'e time when he did the Year of the Hawaiian.
Oh, yeah.
So I did a skit, the Year of the Hawaiian on stage. And so that's where all my Hawaiian from when I was a young kid, I just kind of mold things together into a skit.
Do you still do things now with the program that you have for kids that you used to do way back?
I do... whatever I do for the kids, of course, I don't do ethnic humor.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but like peanut butter, jelly, and going on a buta hunt. That is still for kindergarten to third grade.
Okay.
4th through 8th grade, I change it every 2 years.
Wow. Everything you do has been timeless. We've all learned from you even till today. And we got to find out what school Julia went to because you said he never went to your school?
Christian Academy.
Christian Academy, that's the reason. All these programs you're doing for kids, I love the fact that you keep up with the times even, right? You're doing K-pop parodies. I want to talk about coming up. First of all, mahalo for making time. Thank you for being. Can we keep you for a little while more?
Sure, of course.
If you're joining us, this is Culturized. We're sitting with Uncle Frank de Lima. Encourage you to go over to our extended version on YouTube because there's a few things I want to talk about coming up in this portion. Cancel culture. And I want to find out more about what you're doing for the kids. So if you're joining us, this is what we do on Culturized. So just another reminder, if you joining us right now, we're sitting with Uncle Frank de Lima, and we're getting into the mind of Uncle Frank and just his skill of looking at different ethnicities and teaching us about it. From most of us in Hawaii, when we were young, we learned about these ethnicities through comedy, right? And he's continuing to do that today and doing some really, really great things with the children of Hawaii and continuing on. I want to know where Going on a Buddha Hunt came from. I want to know all these things. And coming up, if you want, I'd love to hear your mana'o and your opinion on this whole cancel culture thing today. Because when I was working in radio, people would hear your songs and be like, why are you guys playing that for, right? So if we can talk about that coming up, I encourage you guys to go to the extended version on YouTube. When you get there, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, everything you need to do to validate my existence because we are in season 9. Thank you guys for joining us. This is Culturized.
Okay. So that was like 54 seconds longer.
Oh, I was trying to follow your thing.
What do you mean 54 seconds? That was a total of 54 seconds?
Yeah.
What happened to 30?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going like.
No, what does that mean?
Wrap up.
You gotta finish, right?
You didn't give me the...
I did. Okay, we wanna try
That's right. That sounded.
If you ever see that, it just means like as soon as you can finish it. But we'll just go with it.
Okay.
They'll try to use it they can try to figure out something and get it.
Yeah. We good.
Okay.
That's just us. That's a production thing.
No worry. I'm here. You can do it again.
Okay, here we go. Extended. Hey, what's up? How's it? Aloha, it is me, Makani. Thank you for joining us on the exclusive extended version on YouTube, sitting with Uncle Frank de Lima and learning things about what goes into his mind when creating, I like to call, what would you, ethnic comedy, culture of comedy? Because I see it like that. We've learned growing up with you, and like I said earlier, there's a lot of things about different ethnic groups that I've learned through your comedy. I never know Imelda Marcus had plenty shoes. All these things that we've learned, we laugh at, but at the same time, which I think a lot of people miss today when it comes to culture, is you share with us in a way that'll make you laugh, but also think. Would you want to? What do you think about this whole cancel culture thing today?
Well, I don't know who these people are, but there's always going to be activists. There's going to be zealots of whatever they believe in, and sometimes they just want things to go the way they think. And the thing is, I think how people get upset about us ethnic humor in Hawaii is that they don't understand the colloquialism phraseologies of the people, and so they think it's disrespectful when a comedian imitates local style, local humor. And if they come from someplace else and they try to make their route to settle down here, some of the stuff is going to just blow their mind because where they come from, you don't dare, don't make fun of any other ethnic, anything about the culture, nothing, Portuguese jokes.
Right.
I mean, I've had complaints
Really?
from the beginning. I've had complaints, of course.
Well, I mean,
it's local humor, right?
Yeah.
And local humor is going right. How did it all start? I just told you from on the TV portion how my humor started. It's all real.
Yeah.
It's real, and it's not actually. It's
You're
just
a storyteller.
imitating.
Yeah.
I'm telling the story. I remember when I smelled takuang for the first time, I thought it was spoiled. But then that's funny, right? Okay, but it's after you eat it, you go to your friend's place and you say, "What that smell?" All that kind. Open, and then you become local and familiarized with it, and you enjoy it. So you take it on the airplane and you open up your bento, and the tourists are looking at you, going, "What the heck is that?" So people get mad because sometimes they cannot look in the mirror, but sometimes there's people that you're not making fun of them, but they are like they feel bad for the ones that they think
that secondhand
that type of thing. That it always will be around. And comedians, I was told when I became a professional comedian, her name is Millie Fujinaga. She's been my manager for many, many years, and she told me that get ready, because when I started to get criticism, and she said, get ready, if you cannot handle it, don't get into comedy, because that's one of the I can't think of the word now.
It's a comedian. I know what you're saying is everybody's going to be a critic. It's like a comedian's not worst nightmare, but
yeah. But you just got to be able to handle it and perform. One thing that I do feel that I have done, and I still get criticized, but at least it's not as much, is permission.
Oh.
I always perform only when I have permission. I learned that from when I was a kid. It was a natural thing inside of me where I would ask Mr. and Mrs. Yonishige, can I go over? I knock on the door. I said, can I perform? Can I do a show for you? That's what I said. 9 years old, right? And they said yes. And so I dressed up in the bedroom, came out, and they cracked up laughing, and they laughed the whole way, Permission to do the lion dance, permission to do any kind of jokes and stuff. Like I learned this joke from this guy named Abel Fraga. Without asking him, he was just doing something for a luau fundraiser, and he was telling a Portuguese joke, and I thought it was so funny, So I wrote it down on the index card, and I started collecting Portuguese jokes and other jokes after a while, and I started writing them down, and it became a part of my show when I first became a comedian. But all the way through my young life, with all of this material that I was starting to put into routines for whatever, Christmas, family gatherings, all that, they would all gather and crack up laughing with me. It all, nobody ever complained.
Wow.
Ever. The whole time was when I started professionally. When I started, when you get the whole
Isn't that
islands, you get the whole, all kind people now are listening and watching. Then you're going to get the ones that Cannot look in the mirror.
Always get somebody. So permission, very important. And I love the Takawan analogy. It's probably the most perfect analogy I've ever heard. If you don't understand it, of course you can get mad. But once you understand it, you're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do you see a difference today? So you're doing a lot of school projects.
Yes.
What are you doing in schools right now for the children?
Okay. For the main thing I'm doing now, I dress up as a sumo, okay? But I got the idea from Jesse Kuhaulua Takamiyama.
Okay.
I got the story from my cousin Charlie Aruda on Maui.
Okay.
And this was way back when he had a picture of him. So I asked him, how you know him, you know? And he told me what a wonderful man that guy was. And then I met him in Japan, and he was. And the people loved him in Japan. And I started to put together why. From what I heard from, it's because the guy knew what aloha was. He knew what focus is. And he knew how to practice everything, no matter what. I think he was so brilliant in the fact that the human brain needs to practice. Anything that you do, from when you're baby time, practice. You just practice until you get it. And so that's the 3 points that before I do the craziness, I talk to them about those 3 points. That in order to be successful in anything, from using chopsticks to getting a good grade on your math, to a science project, whatever it may be, language, speech, all needs practice.
I like
and
that.
You have to focus first. You focus in order to get the material in your brain, the information, and then you practice it. And when you practice it to the point where you got it, and then you use it with aloha. And if you use it with aloha, then you'll know that it's a complete package. Aloha spirit can be felt, it can be seen, and it can be heard. That spirit is the only one that can be felt, seen, and heard. Of course, if you watch spooky movie, they're going to show the spirit. But in real life, that's the only spirit, and it's through wonderful words, not bad words, not meanness, it's all that kind of stuff. But aloha spirit, if everybody practiced it, this would be an awesome world. Yeah. I
think we need to have classes for adults. With that, I mean, if you think about it, that is I love that. I just want to end on that because that is the most amazing thing I've heard is the aloha spirit coming from you. Mahalo, mahalo, mahalo for taking time and sharing your knowledge, your manao and your ike on culture. We'll just leave with this last question, if you can answer it. What is culture to you?
Culture is living the life of your ancestors, I guess, and whatever you learned, if you practice it and you keep it going, I think that's what culture is. Yeah.
I love that. Ladies and gentlemen, as they say in his show, this is Frank de Lima.